Tonight, the studio audience is filled with relatively young people, mainly because most are interns. Some work here at Fox, some work elsewhere in New York. Internships have become increasingly common in America, and today about half of college students do some kind of internship. It's a way for young people to build a resume, try work out. Also a way for companies to try workers out and for companies to get some work done cheap. Which raises the question, how many of you interns are paid? And I'm talking real wages here, not, $10 a day or something like that. How many of you get paid? Nobody. Okay. So aren't you being ripped off by these companies, exploited? Do you think you are? Nobody? It's a Stossel Show audience. Well, the Obama Labor Department says they are exploited. Not long ago, it issued a fact sheet that says free internships are only legal if the employer derives no immediate advantage from the intern. What? Why would an employer then want an intern? Also, the administration says it's better for the business if its operations may actually be impeded by the intern. Are you kidding me? What's the point of that? I had an intern like that once, and we agreed to part company. I think internships are great. I've used interns all my career. They've done some of my best research. Some went on to be journalists themselves. But lots of people say that it's about time the Labor Department started punishing companies that employ unpaid interns. Steve Greenhouse says that. He wrote The Big Squeeze, Tough Times for the American Worker. Hannah Jackman of the National Journalism Center helps students find internships, and she says that they're great, paid or not. But, Stephen, you say most internships cause problems? What do you mean?
No, I've written articles for my paper, the New York Times, saying experts say that many internships cause problems, and that the Labor Department, not just under the Obama administration, but going back decades, has 6 criteria for when internships.
But they've never been enforced, really, before.
And the Obama administration really isn't enforcing them either.
For the most part, hence the witness, the audience.
And I was wondering, why no one raised their hand, because your employer would have said, how dare you say I'm breaking the law by not paying you? The internship has to be for the benefit, almost the sole benefit of the intern. That it cannot be, as you said, John, for the immediate benefit of the employer.
Why not? I mean, aside from what the lawyers have worked out, as a reporter, I mean, what's wrong with benefiting? It's win-win.
It's win-win in many ways, but there are people who would, with unemployment so high, many people are saying, well, it would be great if employers, instead of taking on all these smart young people without paying them,
they would hire people and pay them if it weren't for unpaid internships, that replaces paying work? So
I wrote this front page story a few weeks ago, John, where I interviewed
a workplace correspondent.
Yes, workplace. So Elaith about a graduate of a good college in New York, and she was looking for a job in the fashion industry, got a job with one of the nation's most famous fashion houses. She said she worked basically from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sometimes they wanted her to work weekends. She wasn't paid at all. She thought it was going to be educational. She said a lot of the time she twiddled her thumbs. She went out and got lunch for people. She ran errands.
So she had a lousy time. She can quit. She's not a slave.
That is absolutely true. But, we believe that companies should follow the rules. That's a good conservative notion. Companies should not break the law.
And we have dumb rules.
Well, then change the rules. That people in companies should lobby the Labor Department to change the rules.
Please, you weigh in here. You help students find internships.
Absolutely. We place our interns in media organizations in Washington, D.C., and I can't say enough the advantages and importance of doing these kinds of internships, paid or unpaid. They are incredible opportunities for students to learn what they want to do with their lives, incredible opportunities for networking. Incredible opportunities for learning how to be a grown-up young professional. If we force companies...
Yeah, it's great for the students, but it's hurting, he says it's hurting the paid workers.
I don't see how that's possible. A lot of these interns do the sort of work that is not what a full-time employee would do, but sort of menial things. So it's not as if these interns are there in lieu of a full-time employee.
Steve, I recently interviewed one billionaire. He's created lots of jobs, and he's upset about this Labor Department crackdown. Mark Cuban, he now owns the Dallas Mavericks, says he can't believe he's not allowed to give unpaid work to college students.
I get personally emails every day, 5, 10, 20, even more sometimes, saying it'd be my dream job to intern for the Dallas Mavericks. It'd be my dream job to work in any capacity, unpaid. As a matter of fact, Mark, I'll pay you to let me work for you. And so I went to our human resources person 2 years ago. I said, I have some projects I could really put these guys to work for. And he says, you can't do it. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
I agree. These are kids who might have invented something cool. They don't get the opportunity.
They could, if Mr. Cuban, who I think might have a few extra cents to pay his interns, if he did pay them, they could still be as creative and inventive and go on to exercise great things.
But he chooses not to pay people to just take a flyer. These kids want to work for nothing for the experience.
But unpaid internships favor wealthier kids from families who have connections. And a lot of, if your family,
I look at this audience; they look pretty prosperous to me.
And if your family makes $500,000 a year, maybe they can afford to have their son or daughter work in New York City in an unpaid internship in the summer and pay $1,500 a month rent. But if a family only earns $30,000 to $50,000,
there are certainly students whose parents are willing to support them as they go to another city and do an unpaid internship. However, there are also kids like me who work to put themselves through college, who put away money while they were in college and took those savings and forayed them into an opportunity to do an unpaid internship. To say that because some students have the advantage of parental support that we should not allow any interns to have the opportunities at all, I think is robbing young people of an opportunity to follow their dreams and their careers.
A lot of my interns said to me, boy, I'm learning much more working for you than I learned in college, and I don't have to pay you anything. This is much better. Let me ask you, interns, how many of you learn more in your internships than you did in college? So that doesn't say much for college, but it sounds like an unpaid internship is a great deal.
I'm not denying that unpaid internships can often be very educational. Again, as someone, we are a law-abiding society. We're supposed to follow the rules set forth by various levels of government. And it says here in the official Labor Department rules, if the interns are engaged in the operations of the employer or performing productive work, for example, filing, performing other clerical work, how many of you do that? Or assisting customers, then the fact that they may be receiving some benefits in the form of a new skill or improved work habits will not exclude them from the requirement that they be paid. Now, one might say the law is an ass, and that's been said before.
I'm not even sure what that law said, like most laws. I think too many laws, and we should have a right of contract. And you're the workplace correspondent for the New York Times. The New York Times loves more laws and less freedom, in my opinion.
We love freedom. We love freedom of speech. We love freedom of religion. We're big believers in freedom,
but not freedom of contract in the workplace.
We believe in freedom of contract.
They made a contract with their employers.
But the Supreme Court of the United States, chosen by a duly elected president years ago, set forth these rules for how the workplace should be governed. Until they're changed by the Labor Department of the Supreme Court, those are the rules we're supposed to follow.